There we go.
Should have had my tambourine handy.
Where is it? So welcome to the Crafty Music Tips YouTube channel. My name is Crafty and this is Darren. We're at the home of the Sing It Live recordings. This is a nice place to hang out in and just talk about the stuff that we do.
Thanks for coming around, mate.
No worries. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
How's your mum?
My mum, I don't know if she would know Steely Dan, but I'll have to show her because I've fallen in love with this song. Like, I knew it and I liked it, but I hadn't quite tipped over the edge to have like fully immersed myself in learning it. And so I really appreciate when you asked me to come on and, hey, do a song that I've always wanted the excuse to really get into. And
so you knew this song from hearing it on the radio, is that that?
Yeah.
My mum had this record, so she had Steely Dan records. Mm-hmm. And she had lots of great music and George Benson and stuff like that as well.
Cool, Mum.
Great albums. And she did spend some of her life working in a record store. And so we did accumulate some really great records. She wasn't stealing them, okay? Steely Dan was always something that, being a young keyboard player starting when I was about 8, so I was playing on the organ at first till I was about 12 or 13. And I wasn't very popular at school. I had my face bow, my headgear, with braces and stuff, and I played the organ, which is something that really...
hot.
Yeah, I mean... If people were looking for a laugh, I think they just got it. So,
but it's about the time investment, you know, because then...
I spent all my life wishing I was cool, still doing it. Still doing it.
I'm with you.
But this song and this music was always cool, so it was always musically above me. There was a couple of songs I could play when I was younger. Ricky, Don't Lose That Number and stuff was easier. And I always loved these little jazz feels. And I didn't really know, the guys so much in the band and then the story, and I didn't know that they were going to college together and everything, and where they found each other. And the story, I was just immersed in the music. And this song here, even now... Because I've never played Reelin In The Years in my life.
Yeah.
I've never sang it and I've never played it, ever. So it was really deep diving into the song as we all did.
Right.
And sort of finding that it's way more complicated than you think it is.
Kind of like a Beatles song or an ABBA song, like the ones that don't sound that they're that complex. And then when you get into it, you're like, oh, right. Like even just in the chorus, it's like, and then instead of going to the major chord again, why not go to the minor compatriot?
Well, that was the last chord in the chorus. And it was also my cue to take my hands off the keyboard and not do anything for a little while.
Oh, nice.
So I banged out all of those words and trying to get them all to flow. And it was a good thing that I had that camera inside the piano and I had some lyrics tucked up behind it, so you can see me sort of looking to the side to see them for a little cheat, because there was just a few words just to keep me in the flow. I know a lot of people know this song very, very well. I didn't know it that well, but I did my best to get all those words, and as we do on the day, right? I think I let you guys know on Monday, right, or so, that we're doing this. It was like 2 or 3 days later, we're in the studio doing it. And our busy lives.
I had the lyrics on the speaker there.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see me just darting my eyes off a little bit. And all I had was 4 lines of chorus lyrics.
Yeah.
He had way more. But it's something of a comfort just knowing that, like, in the heat of the battle, instead of going, I've screwed up the whole take because I've just completely forgotten the line, just to have it there, just to keep you going. And there's a lot of balls in the air of concentration with a song that you're just not that familiar with. If it's a song I've done for some time, it's a lot different. Then you can just kind of relax and go, I know this song.
You ever out to someone you can see it fading fast, so you grab a piece of something that you think is gonna last, but you wouldn't even know a diamond if you held it in your hand. Things we think are precious I can understand.
This song is perfect for what I've been trying to achieve in the room here for Sing It Live. Like when everyone's banging this song out and the piano is there with the guts exposed, my vocal mics had hardly any piano in it, actually. When I was listening to it back, which I was really surprised to, because that Sennheiser sort of is going totally away.
Facing the other way.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the piano mics would have had some of my vocals in it. The piano also had a lot of everything in it. All the mics had a tambourine in it, and I wasn't sure whether I even needed the mic on the tambourine. In the end, I did turn it up a bit, but everything had tambourine in it.
Yeah.
Tambourines are almost the loudest thing. If you were trying to set a mic level and you hit a snare drum next to it, bang, bang, you set the level, you could hit a tambourine next to it and it would be louder. Or like, it would go into the red. It's very surprising. Tambourines are very loud. But expertly played, the thickness of that tone in the room, even though our vocals weren't coming through speakers, they were just coming through our ears, it was thick. I could feel every instrument. And even with my back to you guys on the piano there, the sound as well that was created, because like I said, the tambourine's in everyone's mics, and I've panned you a little to the left because that's where you are, and Cam over here. So the tambourine has its own space by the way I've panned your vocals, and it's hearing it in this 3D space. So if I could take us out of the mic and just put all our mics just hearing the tambourine, you'd feel it was just over there. So it really worked in the space. It balanced out, and the mix was not difficult like I thought it would be, because I love this song and I was always thinking Steely Dan, mixing Steely Dan. I mean, I did Hey 19 with the Harley Street Country Club, and that was actually a song that we got external guys to mix, like it was a mix-off. We had guys from all around the world take that mix, and I remember listening to so many of them, and I did my own mix just because, had to have something to compare. And I remember that was a bit difficult, but I mean, this one here I thought was going to be hard, but because of the room and because of what we were doing and the pace and the pressure and bum, ba-dum, dum, there was no gaps in it. Well, when a song's got a fade, that's another thing I come along to all the time, is how to resolve a song that doesn't resolve. Trick to write a song that's going to stay in your head, because it never really ended. It just faded. It never really gave you the closure.
End it.
It's done.
When I do gigs with Andy Seymour, he'll just go, live fade out, and then get a bit quieter, and then we all just have to just try and just...
That's great.
But it wasn't my first live fade out. I've done that with Gleeso and other.
Everything, the sweetest song that I can sing. Oh baby, oh baby, like that.
Yeah.
I suppose it is possible.
And then you eventually, like, the way to make it the most convincing is that you just keep on going. You're in the motions, but there's no sound coming out.
Crazy. So coming up with endings, making it finish. I'm always a guy who doesn't like resolving. I like it, on the 4 or flat and 7th, major 7th thing. You're somewhere else, right? We used to be a running joke in the Harley Street Country Club where Colin and I, when I used to always have a chord, it was like a E flat major 7th. It worked a couple of times just by accident. I said, they're all trying to go through, how are we going to end this? And I went, E flat major 7th, and it just went bam, and it sort of worked. It worked once at least.
Yeah.
It's a bit melancholy, isn't it? This song's got a great little bounce in it too, and in A. And thank you, YouTube, for teaching me how to play this. I think there should be more piano and guitar tutorials out there on how to play things like this, classic songs, because it's a very fun song to play. This isn't correct, but this is my interpretation. Trying to sing. You ever laugh at someone and see it fading fast? It's getting in. Da-da-da. Always the hardest bit. And then one thought was to go with those. And others just did the stroke, which I think sounds different and sounds better. But, you know, if you're adding a note, is everyone else playing it? And there's really only 2 chords in the chorus, right? It's just the G and the A. So, which was, it was a major 7th, 9. It was a fun one to play, and when you got the piano whacking in your face like this, I mean, the drums are right here, the bass is in your colon, you know, and the ears, and you're hearing all the guitars, and because we're using stereo ears as well, in-ears, so we're hearing a nice, and I've panned you guys left, right, and I can hear your harmonies, and it's just such a great way to do it without wearing headphones, but with wearing headphones, sort of with those buds.
That looking like it. Hey, that verse part.
Yeah.
Your highest note is.
Yeah. So that always stays. So that when you do the.
Yeah. Because the guitar part that I was doing in the verse, which Cam ever so generously gave me to do, he showed me that it's.
Yes.
And you've got
That's right.
that A up there the whole
that's
time.
right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then even.
Yes. Yes, exactly
cool.
right. And the A is important. You take it out. I mean, because you can just go. It sounds a little bit. Slow down, you're moving too fast. I'm gonna make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. If you're really old, you'll know this song.
Not old enough, apparently.
You're not?
That sounds familiar.
Feeling groovy.
Bye.
We'll just have to make another video about that.
All
Really
right.
about, you know. You're here
and-
for an education, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. So that part, that verse part, a couple of things on that. One is that Cam's just not playing anything. He's like, no, you do it.
He has a
as
different tone,
musician.
though, remember?
Yeah, that was the
And
thing.
even
yeah.
as a producer, I was thinking, what's happening here? Okay, Cam's just left that, but when I listened to the 2 different guitar tones,
Yeah.
your tone was thinner in range. It had less bass and stuff, but you coming through an amp with a mic on it, and that helped me because of bleed. I could take more of the drums out by taking the bass out.
Yeah.
But your tone was like a barky mid-tone, and his had more bass and body. The original sound on this is a very classic guitar sound, but I mean, we were trying to describe how we thought they may have done it, and it sounds like they just put it into something and turned it way past where it's supposed to have gone, in the red, way past the red, blew the light.
These go to 11.
Yeah.
And it's got that, you know, the sound is just so iconic. But I just always thought that in the tones that Cam and Stefan and Jan, the tones that we're getting here, and yourself, we want to use more of a pure tone, an amp tone. And so I really, called on Cam to keep a flavour of the original in it, but, you know, modify it enough so that it could have a little bit more warmth than the original.
So just the fact that he's not playing anything in the verse is a sign of such maturity.
Yes.
He could have decided, I'll add something in, but was also comfortable enough in not doing anything. So that's awesome. Big props to that.
Does that
But
mean that he
also,
trusts you?
we must have hit that point in our relationship. That's great. But yeah, so the other really good thing about his playing is that, I mean, he does a fantastic job of all of those crazy guitar parts and started learning them the day before.
That's right. It's brilliant. And his louder guitar, besides looking fantastic, I didn't actually know louder guitars before Cam, and
so
I think you might have had one.
Chris Lau, I've never owned one. Wonderful guitarist that I saw many moons ago with an original local Adelaide band called Roger the Band. Don't let the name fool you. Fantastic musos.
Yes.
And Chris, the guitarist, ended up working at Allen's.
Yeah.
And then I'd go into, music stores around because you do that as a musician. And he'd be there and he'd say, hey, I've just done this first ever prototype. Let me know what you think. And so I'm playing it going, oh, this is amazing. And I was a student at the time, quite broke, and just went, take this away from me.
Yes.
I can't play it anymore. He's like, what, you don't like it? And I said, no, because I want to buy it. But I have no money. Get it away.
Yes.
It's like, need a cold shower.
You can't afford it. You can't afford it.
Yeah, like fantastic to hear that he's still out there and he's you know, his little babies are out there spreading their wings.
Great guitars. In fact, I think Damien uses a louder bass. I think I've got one in the booth over there that he lives here. So he also makes great basses and that as well. I mean, Damien is a fantastic top-of-the-line bass player, and if he's using a louder instrument, you've got to know that that's L-A-U-D-A. If he's using one, you've got to know. He did give me a clean out and his process tone. So I had a very clean guitar so I could change his thickness when he was playing in harmony with you. I could take the thickness out.
Right.
So he could play with you on, and your two notes, because two guitars right on top of each other. On the original record, they were just right on top of each other in the middle in mono.
Yeah.
And the two guitars playing in harmony, and I just mixed it in mono, way down soft, and I heard both so that they were on an equal turn, but I couldn't make one thicker than the other. And so I had to open up that clean line where he did his main solos.
Harmony, so it should be, you know,
that's right,
working together. And now, did you know that in the original, I can't remember the guy's name, it's going to annoy me, but they got in one of their mates, Elliot, someone, and he played all of the solo parts.
Yes.
But they'd already done the...
Right, yes, okay.
I don't know if Walter did that. He might have.
Okay.
Someone had already done that, I believe.
Yes.
And so that's why the solo tone.
I think Walter played bass in this song on their live versions when they were playing live. So I'm not sure whether he was.
So someone did that.
Most likely Walter, I think, because he still played guitar on a lot of the tracks.
Yeah.
So.
And then so that's why there's two different tones of the harmony guitar parts versus the solo guitar.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Donald's voice it's very unique. There's a lot of words. He could have even written the lyrics first. And then this song came along and it was at a way faster tempo. This is the way I read it because, you know, there's just so many words. Oh, I remember my son driving to school and coming back, and every time he jumped in the car, he would hear this song. And he's 9, just turned 9, and he's now, you know, I play it now on YouTube and he sings along. Playing Minecraft in the thing, singing... Reelin in the years, you know, it's just it's a cool thing.
Catchy, what an earworm.
You're never going to get this song out of your head, out of your head, out of your head.
My son knows that it does pass eventually.
Yes.
So that's my dog. How you doing, dog? Poor Harley, losing his hearing and getting old, aren't you, mate? Sleeps through most of our stuff, and in that video he just slept on the floor for the whole duration, and we were really, really going for it. So, you know how some children get put to sleep, you know, in the V8 going around the block. I think my dog now goes to sleep when he feels the drums on one side of him and the bass and everything sort of flogging on. That's like his little pat.
I like the reveal that we finish with all of that.
Yes.
And then Mario does his crazy drum feel to reveal sleeping dog.
That's right. And I think he was actually bothered because we all walked out. He's bothered now that he has to stand and walk over the guitar case.
All right, Harley, well, we'll finish up. Darren, thanks so much for chatting about this great
Thanks
song.
for coming around.
No worries. Any more Steely Dan in the future, do you reckon?
I think yes. I think
think yes.
I think we can do Steely. And I like the way it sounds. And we should do more.
Awesome.
We should do more, definitely.
So there's a bunch of other Crafty music tips videos here on this channel. If you've enjoyed this one, there's a bunch of other Sing It Live ones. There's a bunch of other random ones. If you're a muso, go check out a bunch. Hopefully it helps you out. So I'll see you again really soon. I'll see you again really soon. Bye, Harley. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.